Welcome back to Warriors News Fan Report, where we bring you the latest and most exciting sports news every single day. Gub Nation, let me ask you something right off the bat. How many times in the past decade have we seen Steph Curry's voice reshape the future of this franchise? How many times have we witnessed his influence, whether on the court with a back-breaking three-pointer from 30 feet or behind the scenes in a conversation with the front office, literally change the direction of the Golden State Warriors? And how often have those moments, those whispers from Steph, turned out to be the spark that fueled another run, another championship dream, another unforgettable chapter in Warriors history? Well, buckle up, because we may be looking at one of those moments right now. The story breaking out of the Bay is simple on the surface, but seismic in its implications. Steph Curry reportedly wants Gary Payton II back in a Warriors uniform. And he's pushing the front office to make it happen. Now, at first glance, some fans might shrug and say, of course Steph loves Payton. We all do. But if you pause for a second and you look at what's happening with this roster, with the quiet off-season, with Jonathan Kuminga's future hanging in the balance, with Al Horford reportedly circling, and with the Western Conference arms race heating up every single week, you realize this isn't just about bringing back a role player. This could be the pivot point of the Warriors' entire season, maybe even their entire identity moving forward. Let's take it step by step. According to NBA insider Brandon "Scoop B" Robinson, Curry has not only voiced his desire to bring back Payton II, he's been directly reaching out to him, asking the front office to lock him up on a 2-year contract. Think about that. Steph, the ultimate franchise cornerstone, the man who has built this dynasty with his unselfishness and vision, is personally lobbying for Payton's return. And history tells us something very clear. When Curry speaks, the Warriors listen. This isn't speculation pulled out of thin air. This is a pattern that has defined the entire modern era of Golden State basketball. So why Gary Payton II? Let's rewind the clock for a second. In 2022, when the Warriors captured their most recent championship, Payton was the unsung hero. His defense was relentless, his energy infectious, his ability to guard multiple positions a nightmare for opposing coaches. He made plays that didn't always show up in the box score, the deflections, the rotations, the hustle cuts to the rim, the fast break finishes. And he gave this team something they've been sorely missing in recent years, a defensive backbone that balanced out the fireworks of Curry, Clay, and the offensive engine. Fans remember it vividly. In that playoff run, every time Payton hit the court, the game shifted. The Warriors' defensive rating improved dramatically. According to StatMuse, Golden State's defensive efficiency jumped significantly with him on the floor. He turned momentum by himself. One steal, one transition dunk, one possession of suffocating perimeter defense, and suddenly Chase Center was vibrating with energy. That's what Payton represents. Now, let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, Payton has struggled with injuries, particularly that persistent core issue that slowed him down last season. Yes, he's 31 years old and not a perfect solution to every roster problem. But here's the thing. When you talk to Steph Curry, when you talk to Draymond Green, when you look at how this locker room views him, it's obvious that his impact goes way beyond numbers or medical reports. Curry himself has repeatedly praised Payton's energy as a difference maker, calling him the kind of intangible spark plug that championship teams simply need. And now, both Curry and Draymond are reportedly aligned in wanting him back. That alignment is critical. Because when the two most influential leaders of the Warriors are united on a personnel move, the front office has a choice: listen or risk alienating the very voices that built this dynasty. Bob Myers may be gone, but the ethos of stars, have a say, is very much alive in Golden State, and Mike Dunleavy Jr., navigating his first few big moves as GM, has to balance the future with the now. But here's the wrinkle. This offseason has been unusually quiet for the Warriors. No major moves, no blockbuster trades. The one big piece everyone's watching, Jonathan Kuminga, The 21-year-old forward has all the tools, all the promise, but his future in Golden State is clouded by questions of fit, role, and long-term commitment. The front office seems frozen until that domino falls. And that's where things get complicated. Because Al Horford, the veteran big man, has reportedly given a verbal commitment to join the Warriors, but his arrival is contingent on roster maneuvering, which ties directly into what happens with Kuminga. So now imagine the picture. On one hand, you've got Kuminga's uncertain future, Horford waiting in the wings, and the Warriors needing to recalibrate their frontcourt. On the other, you've got Steph Curry banging the drum for Gary Payton too, saying, "This is the guy we need. This is the spark we're missing." Can you feel the tension? It's like a chess match with three pieces moving at once. Every decision affects the others, and the entire season hangs in the balance. And let's not forget the Western Conference. The Lakers, the Nuggets, the Timberwolves, the Mavericks. They're all stacking their rosters, making sure they can withstand the marathon of an 82-game season and the brutality of a playoff run. Can the Warriors afford to stand still? Can they risk letting another year of Curry's prime slip away because they hesitated to make the moves that mattered? That's why his push for Payton feels so urgent. This isn't just nostalgia or favoritism. This is Curry seeing the battlefield, recognizing what the Warriors lack, and demanding the piece that restores balance. But here's the bombshell buried under the noise. Curry's influence has historically gone beyond just requests. Remember Kevin Durant's arrival? Remember Andre Iguodala's eventual return? Remember the countless role-player signings that turned into perfect puzzle pieces? Curry's seal of approval has been the golden stamp for years. So if he wants Payton, history suggests the Warriors will bend over backward to make it happen. Still, the questions loom. Could Payton's return really be enough to swing the Warriors back into contention? Is it possible that his defense, his chemistry with Steph, his intangible energy, could reignite the dynasty flame one more time? Or is this just a short-term fix, a bandage on deeper issues of age, depth, and roster imbalance? Fans are already split. Some see Payton as the missing spark. Others argue the Warriors need a bigger move, a more dramatic shakeup to truly compete. And yet, for all the speculation, one truth shines clear. Steph Curry doesn't make these pushes lightly. His voice carries the weight of 4 championships, 2 MVPs, and the unshakable trust of Gub Nation. When he speaks, it's because he believes. And if he believes Gary Payton too can change the course of the season, then you have to ask yourself, what does he see that maybe the rest of us don't? If you're still with me, Dub Nation, you already know this story doesn't end with just a whisper about Gary Payton too. It's bigger, it's heavier, and it cuts right into the soul of what it means to be a Warriors fan right now. Because, let's be real, this isn't just about signing a player. This is about identity, culture, and the question we've all been dodging. Do the Warriors still have one more real run in them? Or are we hanging on to echoes of a dynasty that defined our lives for the last decade? Steph Curry pushing this hard tells me he refuses to accept that the dynasty is over. That's personal to me as a fan because I remember watching the 73-9 season, the heartbreak of 2016, the euphoria of 2017 with KD's arrival, and the redemption of 2022 when everyone counted us out. And every single one of those turning points was built not just on talent, but on the little glue guys, the Andre Iguodalas, the Sean Livingstons, the guys like Payton who bring balance to the storm. When I think about Payton, I don't just think about defense. I think about that feeling you get when you see him dive for a loose ball, like it's Game 7 of the finals. I think about the way he finishes in transition with pure fire in his eyes, like he knows exactly how much it means to this fan base. And I think about the way Steph lights up when Payton's on the court, because he knows he's got someone next to him who will fight for every inch. That chemistry isn't numbers, it's trust, and trust is what wins titles. You can't put a stat on the way Chase Center explodes when Payton picks someone's pocket, and turns it into a dunk. But you can feel it, and it's real. Now, here's my personal take. This front office cannot afford to ignore Curry. Not now. Not with the Western Conference looking the way it does. The Lakers are lurking. The Nuggets are stacked. Even the Timberwolves are looking like a problem. If the Warriors play it safe, if they roll into the season without making the bold moves, then we're wasting what's left of Steph's prime. And that's a crime, plain and simple. I don't want to look back in 5 years and say, man, if only we had listened to Curry when he said to bring Payton back. I want to see the Warriors take that leap, give Steph what he's asking for, and give us, the fans, the chance to believe in another run. But let's be honest, there's risk here. Payton isn't a guaranteed fix. He's battled injuries, and he's not a young prospect like Kuminga. But to me, that's the beauty of it. This isn't about potential anymore. It's about trust in battle-tested warriors. Guys who know how to win when the lights are brightest. Steph sees that. Draymond sees that. And honestly, I see it too. Because sometimes the right move isn't about flashy numbers or long-term upside. Sometimes it's about making sure your core guys feel empowered, respected, and ready to go to war with the soldiers they trust. And here's something else. This move wouldn't just be about Payton. It would send a message. It would tell Steph, Draymond, and even Klay that the franchise is still all in, still willing to push chips to the center of the table, still willing to back their leaders when they speak. It would tell Dub Nation that this isn't just the twilight of an era, but a chance to write another chapter. And for me, that's what I crave. Because I don't want this dynasty to end with a whimper. I want it to end on our terms, with one more fight, one more parade, one more memory burned into NBA history. So, Dub Nation, I'm going to throw it to you now. Do you believe bringing Gary Payton II back is the move that sparks this team back into contention? Or is it just one piece in a bigger puzzle that still needs solving with Kuminga, with Horford, with the rotation? Personally, I'll tell you this. My heart says Payton is exactly the kind of guy we need right now. Not just for the steals or the dunks, but for the heartbeat, the fire, the energy that reminds us why we fell in love with Warriors basketball in the first place. And if Steph's pounding the table for him, then I'm right there with him. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about wins and losses. It's about pride, legacy, and the bond between a team and its fans. And if you're like me, you don't want to let go of that bond just yet. You want to squeeze every drop of magic out of this dynasty before it's truly gone. That's why my pulse is racing. That's why my voice is shaking. And that's why I'll be in the comments, ready to fight for what this team means to all of us. So drop your unfiltered takes below, Dub Nation. Tell me if you're with me. Tell me if you think Steph's right. Tell me if you believe Payton's return could light the fuse one more time. I can't wait to hear your voices, because this isn't just my opinion. It's our story. And trust me, I'll be right there, with you, heart in hand, every step of the way.